We're building our dream tiny home.
Every single part that we can build ourselves, we're going to, because we have some very specific requirements.
We want the same level of comfort as a house, but it also needs to be super lightweight and strong enough for life on the road. As per usual, we've got some pretty unconventional ideas of how to make it all happen.
But it's going to be a lot of fun.
So let's go.
There's something wrong with this ladder. It's really uncomfortable. It doesn't really work. This is 2-point trussing, and it's left over from back in the day when I worked in the music industry. I used to do lots of live events and stuff, and we would build all sorts of cool lighting rigs out of this. And I'm taking some inspiration from it for the trailer frame design. And also, I just think trusses look really cool. Like if you look at space frame designs and like motorbike frames, I just think it looks really cool. And it's very efficient. It has a really good strength to weight ratio. So I'm going to try and make a little mock-up to see what the process is like and if it's something we want to consider for the trailer frame. This is a trailer design I've been working on for quite a while. It's really just a concept, but it really shows what we have in mind. Lots of space, big slide outs and that kind of stuff. But as you can see, I haven't actually designed any of the important bits like the frame or the suspension or anything underneath. So why are we thinking of going for a truss design instead of how we made our flatbed out of C-channel? Well, I did a rough design of what that might look like, and when I added it all up, it was really heavy. In a nutshell, trussing is generally stronger and stiffer without needing as much material. When trussing like this is under load, instead of wanting to bend like this, the force is carried as straight tension and compression in the diagonal truss members, which steel handles brilliantly. In a simple C-channel like this, more of the load shows up as bending and twisting in the open C shape, so it flexes and racks a lot more, which makes bolt holes and welds more likely to crack, and it puts extra strain on mounting points. So the trailer would need to be bigger and thicker material and have more cross members to cope, which all results in a heavier trailer. So that's the theory, but to put it into practice and make my own proof of concept, first I need to make a tool for cutting the tubes. This is a tube notcher. I found plans for it online and it's just made from laser cut sheet steel, but the only steel I've got is super rusty, so we're trying out this cleaning function on the CNC laser. The finish is really good, but it does make a big old mess. Right here is where I made a really stupid mistake. I forgot to put a piece in and then weld it over the top of it, so I had to cut all my welds and waste loads of time. And that happened because I was hungry. And this happens all the time to us. We'll get stuck into a project, hours will go by, and then we wonder why we're making stupid mistakes, and we realize we haven't eaten in hours. And when that happens, our go-to is Huel. I'm genuinely really excited that Huel has sponsored us because I've been a customer of theirs for years, and these hot and savoury pots have been a lifesaver in our freezing cold workshop.
Where's mine?
In this pot, you'll find a balance of carbs, protein, fibre and fat, and vitamins and minerals, designed by registered nutritionists as a complete meal ready in 5 minutes. This is pasta bolognese. There's actual pasta in here. It's crazy. They fit a full meal in a pot. It's so cool. They also do a carbonara, which is like really, really good.
It's really good. And it keeps you full for ages.
Yeah, if junk food is your default because it's quick and easy, then
this is a definite upgrade.
Yeah.
Right now, new customers can get £10 off when you spend £60 or more. Links in the description. We genuinely can't recommend them enough.
You gonna finish that?
Yes.
We've not tried using it yet, so let's see if this works. I think the pipe needs to come out a little bit more because it didn't quite cut everything off. Do you see how it's got a flat here?
Oh yes. But it cut it quite easily.
It was surprisingly easy. So there's two things you have to set. The depth, like how much tube is sticking out, and also how high this is, because you need it to be all in line. But once it's set, that would be it, because we'd only really be using one diameter pipe, all the same angles to make the truss. So it's hopefully worth it. Oh, keep drilling into the other side of it. There we go. That looks a bit better. I'm still not sure if that's set up right, but let's offer it up to this bit. Let's see what it's looking like. I think that's actually all right.
Oh, just has some overhang on the sides.
Yeah, I don't think that really matters.
Do you want to check the angle?
What does it say?
60.8.
Oh, that's pretty good. I was aiming for 60. I'd say that's fine.
Is it?
Yeah. This is just a...
Oh, it's just a pretend.
It's just a mock-up. Yeah, it's important to note this isn't the size that we'd be making the actual trailer chassis. This is a small-scale mock-up, just to see how much of a pain this process is. This is an exercise in making something cool for fun. But if it becomes too much of a pain and it takes too long, then it won't be worth it. So that's what we're figuring out now. Is it worth it for the fun? Right, let's do the other side. What do you think?
Very neat. You managed to keep them pretty straight.
Yeah. Like, I've never used a tube notcher before.
I think you've done a great job.
I just kind of assumed that's how it worked. But, yeah, bit of clean-up. Let's weld it together, shall we? See what it looks like. I do see some difficulties in actually welding this together, just because it's round and things just are rolling all over the place. And when I get one bit right and then try and put the other one in, it just rolls. And clamping round stuff is going to be tricky. So I can see there being pros and cons. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be laser welding it together because that's what I want to use when we actually make the trailer frame properly, because I think it'll just speed things up. It's really hard to go around the curves and follow it with this because you can't quite see what you're doing.
What are your findings?
It looks really cool.
It does look cool.
It looks really cool. It was difficult to make. Clamping round stuff is a pain. Getting the laser welder in there is a pain compared to like MIG or TIG. It will be easier when this is actually the correct scale. It'll be almost twice as tall, so I will be able to get in there. But yeah, I was having to hold this and move this while I moved the welder.
Yeah, you can't do that when it's the real thing, because it's
No.
going to be like 7 meters long.
Yeah, I think we'd have to make lots of jigs to hold everything in place if we were using round tube. And like, it's not actually fully welded. I kind of stopped because the welding wire we've got is 0.8 mil, and when you're trying to fill gaps with the laser, it does really small little beads. So if we got thicker welding wire, I think it would turn out better. But yeah, we've got lots of gaps. Overall, I think it's a cool proof of concept. Whether or not we want to do the whole trailer out of tube, I don't know. Because you know what's easier than welding round things?
Straight things.
Straight things like box section. We could make something like this out of box section.
Oh.
And it would be easier.
Run the simulation.
So as we saw earlier, this is what the C channel looks like under load. So I don't know the proper maths on how to calculate loads and stresses for the metal. So I'm using this software called Fusion 360. It's what I use for all the CAD drawings and stuff that we do. And in it, I've modeled this 3 meter length, 60 millimeter diameter tube truss. At the moment, it doesn't matter what material it is because we can change that. We can look at stainless steel or aluminium or normal steel. And what I've done is lock the ends in place so they can't move. And I've put a 750 kilo load evenly over the top of it. So for this first simulation, we're looking at the displacement. So how much in millimeters does it bend under the 750 kilo load? Now these animations are greatly exaggerated just to help you see where things are bending the most. But the actual amount that it's bending is showing as well under 1 millimeter. But you kind of have to take this with a pinch of salt because you wouldn't be able to do this in real life. You wouldn't be able to fully constrain these ends in space and then put a load evenly across it. You know, this is really just so we can compare between this tube and box section and different sizes and wall thickness and all that sort of stuff to hopefully put us in the right direction. So let's have a look at box section instead and compare it to the tube. I looked at a whole bunch of different size options, but I've settled on this. This is 60mm by 40mm rectangular box section, 3mm thick. As we can see, the results are similar to the tube. So let's look at this. I think it's pronounced the von Mises, and it basically shows the pressure in the metal in different areas. This is showing that it's well within a safe range and also similar to the tube as well. Both the tube and the box section are still much better than the simple C-shaped channel because look how much it twists, and that's because of the C shape. This twisting puts loads of pressure on bolt holes and welds, so you end up having to beef everything up more and put in a lot more cross members. So overall you end up with a much heavier trailer frame. So real quick, let's look at the material choice then. And really it comes down to either steel or aluminium. I suppose we could do stainless steel as well, but it's a lot of extra money and hassle for really not that much gain. Aluminium would be super cool. It can be around half the weight compared to steel, but it can also be 2 to 4 times more expensive than steel. But aluminium has this issue where it can get weak in heat affected areas, so basically anywhere that we've welded, and because we've got a ton of welding to do on this trailer, we're going to end up with loads of potential areas of failure. So for the price and the peace of mind, I think steel is just a much better way to go. It is going to be heavier, but I think that we can still make the weight budget work. I think it'll still be fine. So with all that in mind then, this is what I've come up with. We've got the chassis rails in blue and the cross members in red. This isn't exactly what it's going to look like, but it is pretty much to scale, and hopefully it'll look as good as this. The fifth wheel coupling isn't shown in the drawing because that's actually completely changing. It's still not going to be a normal tow ball hitch, but we've got something really cool lined up for that. I've not drawn in the suspension, but we are going to make our own custom independent suspension that's going to be height adjustable as well, which is going to be really cool. I don't think the cross members need to be this strong. I think we could possibly use smaller material because we're going to build the floor in a way that it actually becomes a stiffening member of the trailer. So the floor is going to be a composite laminated panel, which will be a sandwich of fiberglass, insulation and fiberglass, but inside the panel there's going to be probably aluminium or fiberglass box section that's going to reinforce and be encapsulated in the floor, and then the chassis rails will pick up mounting points in that box section within the panel, so the whole floor will have a really solid grid, which will also help prevent the trailer from twisting and bending. In fact, the whole habitat's actually going to be built like this, composite panels with reinforcement inside the panels where it's needed. And overall, this will provide a bunch of stiffness and strength wherever we need it, while also keeping everything as light as possible. So yeah, what do you think? So tube, even though it looks cool, tube is out and box section is in. But we're going to need a proper work surface to build the chassis rails on because they're like 7.5 meters or 7 meters long. I don't want to do it on the floor because it's probably not very straight. So I've been working on this. You may recognize this scaffolding from our workshop. We went and took it down the other day. When we've given it a new life, it's going to become racking and long workbenches and anything I can make because we've got a lot of scaffolding left over. We've got some here and over there and over there. So this is 1 4-meter length workbench essentially. It's all nice and level. We use the feet to make it all level. And then we're going to build another one that'll go right here. So we'll have 8 meters of workbench that then we can move around and stuff later on. That looks pretty level to me. What do you think?
Looks good.
It was very important that it's level, because if you imagine it's like got a dip in the table or bow or something, when we weld everything up, that bow will stay. Whew, it's happening. Just got to find the balancing point and then you're all right. Whoa. We are ready to start making the trailer. We've set up this kind of jig. The chop saw is level with our long table, and you just pull the metal in, chonk, like that, and then they all come out exactly the same length and angle and stuff.
And how many do we need?
Yeah, 26 on each side, so that's 52 in total. That's 416 welds.
Oh no.
I kind of wish I didn't work that out. It's 8.3 meters of welding. So while we were cutting all these, Hayley was doing a little bit of quality control just to make sure all the angles and lengths were the same. But we noticed that as we were going, the angles were changing a little bit. And then when we had a look, it turned out one of the bolts on the clamp on the saw had come loose and actually broke the threads. So we had to stop for a bit, fix the saw. But after that, it worked really well. And I'm really glad we took the time to set this whole jig up, because it made it so much easier than measuring every single bit and then cutting it. And we ended up with angles that were within 0.3 degrees of each other. So we're really happy with the results. So we made these spacers that are going to hold the top and the bottom of the rail apart at a set distance, so that when we weld, things don't warp and move and stuff, because that's going to be the tricky thing to control now. So this is one chassis rail, I suppose you could call it, for the trailer. It's big, isn't it? Here's one of our diagonals, and if we've done it all correctly, this should fit in here perfectly, which it does. Oh, it looks so good. Can you be a bit more impressed about how accurate and great that is?
I've already seen it. Wow!
We're going to use this bit as a clamp to hold it all in place and flush. Okay, we finally figured out a decent solution for clamping all this up. So we have the top and the bottom of our rail, also known as the cord. I've been brushing up on my truss lingo. Then we have these bits. These are the important bits. These are the spacers that we just cut out. And this keeps everything parallel and the correct height. I think that's as good as we're going to be able to get it. Everything looks really good. So now I'm just going to tack everything, all 26 of them up, and then we'll weld everything, burn it in. Is it still burning it in if it's a laser? I guess so. Okay, here we go. I mean, the tax feels good and strong.
It's starting to look like a thing now.
That was much quicker to clamp. I think we just need to find our rhythm, don't we?
Yeah.
And then crack on, because we got 24 more, and then another 26. This thing is nuts. It's been about 3.5 hours.
No, it's been like 5.
You ready?
Not sure about this.
We're gonna give you a grand reveal. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh gosh, it's sliding. Ta-da!
I think that's fine.
A truss! We're actually making a bridge. It looks like a mini old-fashioned train bridge.
It does. Very strong.
Cool! Wow! It is a chunky thing, huh?
Yeah, but that's good because think of all the stuff we're going to be able to keep in the rails.
Oh, yeah.
Tanks, batteries, clothes. What else do you put in the house?
So what Hayley was just talking about is how the depth of the chassis is useful because we're going to have storage built into the floor of the trailer.
Yeah, the axles are going to be underneath, so anything below this is all just clearance, which means this can be stuffed full of stuff.
So from like, a third of the way up the chassis to the top, that's the suspension of the wheels.
Oh,
Yeah. So we've stopped there because
it's too long,
yeah,
and B, we want a bit of an angle.
I think that's called like a departure angle. So when you
Like
go
a
in,
departure angle.
yeah.
So when the tiny home gets pulled uphill, it doesn't scrape his butt
Yeah.
as much, or at all.
So we're not going to have wheel arches in the body of the trailer because otherwise that eats into your living space and it's also just a pain, and it means we can't have slide outs where we want slide outs because there'll be wheel arches in the way and stuff. So at the moment it's all just tacked in place, but I have started to do some proper welds and just getting the hang of it, but you can see the laser does a real neat job. She looks straight and true and very long. I'm so pleased with how well everything fit together. It came together exactly like the CAD and there's no gaps anywhere. So it is very chunky, isn't it? It always turns out bigger than the CAD, like when in real life it always looks bigger. But this way, because it's so tall, and because of the truss, it makes it so stiff that it means we don't need so many cross members supporting the two sides of the chassis rails, which means we can store more stuff, and that means that overall it will be lighter as well. You might be thinking to yourself, Pete, why are you doing this? Surely there's simpler, easier ways that are much faster. And to that I say, you must be new around here, welcome. We don't do things conventionally, really. There is a lot of method to this madness, but yeah, I'm also having a lot of fun, and that's kind of that's key, I think, don't you?
Yes.
But I did look at getting some C-shape chassis rails, like the similar size that's on the truck. One length this long would have been like over 300 odd pounds. This is about 80 pounds worth of steel. So it's pretty good. And this weighs a lot less. This whole rail is about 110 kilos. So 210 for the other side, plus some cross members. Our frame with the axles and everything should be under 500 kilos. I mean, it's still much heavier than a caravan, isn't it? But we want something that's going to be like strong and be able to tour all over as many miles as we want, do some gravel roads, go in rural places in Portugal. I said Portugal, funny. Oh, I'm very, very happy, very excited. Your face is all mucky. How are you feeling?
Tired.
That was long, wasn't it?
Yeah, it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. But we got quicker with the moving the clamps and who's doing what bit.
We were like a well-oiled machine at one point.
By the end of it, we were.
Yeah.
But we've got to do this again.
Yeah.
This too.
This is like the first big step.
It is. Yeah, we're actually building it.
This isn't the full length because there's going to be the fifth wheel coupling arm thingy, you know, that connects to the trailer. So there's about another 2 meters to go on the front.
It would just about fit in here.
Yeah, we're going to try and make the whole trailer about 9 meters, but the workshop is like 9.5, so it might have to be 8.5 meters or something. We'll see.
No.
But the coupling system has completely changed, but we'll explain that in the next episode. We have a big announcement, very big announcement. We've started a second YouTube channel.
It's called the Long Roadtooffgrid, and it's just going to have extra long versions of our Friday episodes, because there's a bunch of stuff that we cut out because we try and keep it to the point. But I know that some of you guys would like to watch something longer, so that will go up on Sundays. And yeah, if you like longer content, then head on and watch it over there. I don't think there's going to be any sponsors on there for a while. It's going to be ad-free for a bit because it's not monetized anyway.
So yeah, feel free, go over there, check it out. There'll be a video on Sunday. And if you really want to support us, this week don't like and subscribe. Instead, go and click the Huel ad link and check out some Huel stuff, because it really, really helps. And we want them to keep sponsoring us because we really like the food. So seriously, super helpful. And that's it.
Yeah, you need to get welding.
Got some serious welding to do.
And you don't want to watch all that.
No. Next episode, both will be done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see you then.
Bye.